Well, the academic year is in full swing. Students are back at their desks, parents are packing lunches, and teachers are busy shaping the minds of tomorrow's leaders. And knowing how busy this time of year is for educators, I'm thrilled to have Joy Blackwood with us this afternoon on Good Day Kingston. Joy is the superintendent of the Silver Lake Regional School District. Joy, it's great to have you.
Thank you so much for having us.
Now, I trust you had an exciting summer.
I did. I had a great summer. Thank you.
Any notable trips or fun weekend getaways?
We did a little bit of camping, but I was very busy hiring this summer. We had a lot of retirements, so it was a busy summer.
So there's no rest for the superintendent?
No rest. It's year-round.
Okay. And anything on your summer reading list that you'd like to recommend?
One of the things that I did this summer is I live on Cape Cod, so I have a long drive every day. So I'm very fond of books on tape. And one that I did recently, which was really fun, was the Beatrix Potter Cottage series.
Okay.
And they're wonderful. It's about the life of Beatrix Potter. And the whole Lake District in Europe was purchased by her and her husband. And that's why it's now in trust. So it was a lot of fun to learn about her and her background and her history, how the books were developed.
Now, do you do audio CDs, or do you do some of the apps through the libraries?
I do the audio CDs through the libraries.
Great.
Yeah.
Well, I'm very excited to have you here at the start of the new school year. What new changes or exciting things can students and parents expect to see in the new school year?
We have a lot of great things happening in Silver Lake and in Kingston. In Silver Lake, we recently began an allied health program. It's a brand new Chapter 74 program. It's something we've worked really hard for. Students will be able to graduate and be an LPN and gain credit towards working and being prepared to go right into a job.
That's incredible. So they can graduate and actually jump right into the workforce.
Exactly. So we've worked very hard to have that. We're really excited about it. We were able to set up a classroom. As a matter of fact, when I walked in there last evening to see how things were looking now that we're in session, they had the dummy in the bed, and I had to do a double take because I was trying to figure out who was in the bed for the nursing. But no, it looks great. And we've got a brand new teacher, and she's excited, and we're just thrilled to begin that program. Another exciting thing at Silver Lake is we got a grant for $400,000. Elliot Glass, our CTE director, got a grant for $400,000 to develop a new greenhouse for our horticulture program. So we're really excited about that. So our old greenhouse is taken down, and we're in the process of putting that up. So that's pretty exciting for us. The other thing that we've done a lot of work over this summer is to fund new lights at Zerko Field. That has been a huge undertaking, and we've received a huge amount of support from the community, particularly State Senator Vinnie DiMacedo, Ali DiMacedo, and many local businesses have jumped in and really made a huge amount of donations. We will be able, we hope, keep everything crossed, to turn on our football lights for our first evening game October 5th.
That's fantastic. And how are the teams looking this year?
We're looking good. We're looking good, but I might be a little biased. But we look good. We got a great coach.
And with it being the start of the year, do you have any advice for incoming students?
Excuse me. You know, I really encourage our students to try to put social media down and give themselves a little bit of a break and to stay away from it for at least an hour or so before they go to bed. Give themselves a chance to calm down and to not sleep with their phones on and in their room. You know, I think so many of our students are staying up too late, and I think they are constantly tied to their phones. And I'm not sure it's the healthiest option for them. So I would really encourage our students and our parents to try to have that separation, to let them get a great night's sleep, let them have a chance to calm down. I think the world today has moved pretty quickly, and we all tend to be so concerned about making sure we're up on whatever's happened on Facebook or Twitter or whatever it may be. And I'd love to have our students have a chance to catch their breath.
It's almost like the constant news cycle that so many of us adults are getting stuck in.
Exactly.
Yeah. How about advice for seniors who are already eyeing graduation day?
You know, it's interesting. I started in the district 13 years ago. And so the graduating class were kindergartners when I started.
Oh, wow.
Yeah. So I guess, you know, I've watched them grow. So, you know, I think choose well and go into college. So many students are choosing colleges and going hugely into debt. So I think to really think about what it is they want, and to make good choices, and to make choices where they'll able to be successful, and to begin their career without graduating with a massive amount of debt.
Yes.
So
yeah.
I think, apply widely. Sometimes the private, very expensive schools may give a better scholarship, and that's absolutely true if you meet their qualifications. But I also think there are many schools, state schools, or schools that maybe go to a community college for 2 years and then go to a private or a state school afterwards. But I think so many students, unfortunately, are seriously in debt, and it's a very tough way to begin their life.
I'm a very proud graduate of Bridgewater State, so it's
go.
nice to hear you, with that advice.
I have to say, I was lucky enough that I went to Syracuse University. I did have a full academic scholarship, so I didn't have to pay anything. I was very lucky. At the time, I met what they were looking for, so I was very blessed. But I know many students who graduate with several $100,000 in debt, and it's a very difficult way to begin their life.
Yeah. Now you've been in the district for 13 years. What brought you to the Silver Lake School District?
I had been teaching in Mashpee, and then I became a math coordinator there, and I was ready to take the next step. And a position opened up in Silver Lake, and I was lucky enough to get it. So
I'm guessing your degree from Syracuse was in the education field?
Actually, yeah, I had an undergraduate degree in early childhood and in psychology. And what I ended up doing was I did some work for the Department of Mental Health, and then I worked for Big Brothers Big Sisters, where the social work end. And I was there for 9 years, stayed home with kids, and then went back to get my master's in education.
No, was there an educator in your life who sort of, inspired you to follow this path?
Absolutely. When I was younger, I was the youngest of 6 kids from a single-parent family. And I had a lot of educators who really took a special interest in me and really pushed me to perform, even when I didn't think I could. I didn't have the confidence. And by the time I was in high school, I had a teacher who decided I was her personal project, and she did not let me get away with anything. And she insisted that I do very well, and she moved me up into all the higher end classes, and made me apply for colleges, and really changed my life. So, I had somebody who really believed in me and didn't let me think otherwise. And, I'm very thankful, as I said. She really was the one who changed my life, changed my world.
And do you find yourself sort of doing similar things with students now, where you're encouraging them and pushing them to reach their potential?
Absolutely, yeah. Our district really has a focus on a few things, well, many things, but the 2 things that I think really are important to me is a growth mindset, and that is really just because a child can't do something now, it just means they can't do it yet. Not that they won't be able to learn it. So it's really all about the effort and to find a way that they can all be successful, and to really believe in everybody's capability. And it's really more a belief in yet.
Yep.
And I think that's just so important.
Yeah, it's almost it's progress, not perfection, and making sure that we're constantly taking strides and
absolutely.
Yeah. And also realizing that the society sometimes puts expectations on students, and they aren't always encouraged to reach that potential.
Yeah, no, absolutely, absolutely.
Now, I don't know how many viewers at home know what the school district looks like. So can you give us a snapshot or a quick, 101 on what the Silver Lake School District is?
It's really an interesting district. It's a puzzle. And there's a lot of pieces to fit together. So Silver Lake is a regional 712 district, and it's made up of students from the towns of Halifax, Kingston, and Plimpton. They have their own school committee of 9, and we have right now about 1150 at the high school and about 540 at the middle school. And then we have 3 standalone elementary districts, Halifax, Kingston, and Plimpton. Halifax is our middle child. There are about 600 students, about 614 right now, and they have their own 5-member school committee. Dennett is our small child. They are just around 200 right now, and they have their own 5-member school committee. Kingston has Kingston Intermediate School and Kingston Elementary School. They have their own 5-member school committee. The elementary school is a pre-K to 2. We have a preschool program which is housed in Kingston Elementary School, but the preschoolers come from Halifax, Kingston, and Plimpton. because we just hold them all together because it's a smaller population. That has about 540 in it, and then the intermediate school, I think, is just around the 1,000 mark at this point. No, yes. Yeah.
So how many school committees is that you're
I have 4 standalone school committees, and then we have what's called a joint meeting, and it's our shared cost, which funds my office, my positions, the positions that are shared. So I have 24 school committee members as my bosses. And we have lots of meetings, and we spend a lot of quality time together.
And you know, I think you said 1,150 students at the high school alone.
Yeah, there's right now we're probably around 3,600 students throughout the district. We have about 500 staff. The budgets altogether total probably about 53 million would be a fair guess, off the top of my head.
So with that many students, I can only imagine it's a struggle to reach every single one. What are your teachers doing to make sure that they're sort of tapping into each learning style to make sure that the students are achieving? Sure.
So as I mentioned, growth mindset is one thing that we've really been focusing a lot of our professional development on, and really sort of helping people to understand the concept of YET. The other area that we're focusing on are the social emotional learning. And the 2 areas this year that we're particularly focusing on is self-awareness and self-management for our students. So the idea of helping students to understand who they are, what they're capable of, what works for them, how they can be successful, and then how to manage that. And those are really important skills. What is happening is so many students are really developing anxiety, is become a huge issue. I do believe social media plays into it, and that was sort of why my, for what it's worth, words of wisdom, you know, is to put it down a little bit. It's okay, you know, you can step away from the phone. But, you know, I do worry that so many of our kids just, you know, are constantly feeling anxious, constantly concerned about what is happening with other people or what people are thinking of what they're doing. And to really sort of believe in themselves and to sort of develop that empathy and kindness. So we've really been focusing on that within the district, which I think really is all about the teachers helping to recognize the students as individuals and the students to recognize themselves as learners and what their capacity is.
Now, the anxiety piece, is that something that you've seen grow in the time that you've been in this position?
Absolutely, hugely, hugely, yeah. We have really, and our district is not alone. It is something that has really, you know, among the superintendents in South Shore, it's certainly a discussion that we have. One of the things that we developed this year, when you're talking about new programs, is the Bridge program, and it's, which is called the BRIGHT program, excuse me, the Bridge for Resilient Youth in Transition. So it's for students who are developing anxiety, is one component of it, who are struggling to be in school, you know, and maybe are sort of going in and out of some treatment programs. And it's a way for the students to come back into school and to receive the support so they can get back into the schedule of being in the high school. So it's sort of a safe space for them to be in, where the students can go, they can receive some additional support, they can receive some academic support, some emotional support to get them back into school and to feel confident about their ability to be back into the mainstream again.
That's a great goal to have for all the students, and especially those who need it most. And parents must play a crucial, you know, part of the puzzle as well in terms of supporting students through their academic career.
Yeah.
Any advice for parents who want to either be more involved or sort of re-engage, you know, the teachers, the students?
You know, one of the things that I think, you know, unfortunately in society at this point is it's very difficult to spend time. So many of us are always running to this activity or that activity, is we've lost the ability or the time to sit and talk. You know, and I would really encourage parents to try to find that special time at dinner, at the breakfast table, wherever it may be, to put the phones down and to really focus and to try to listen to what is going on. You know, I truly believe that our parents are very invested in this district. I feel very, very lucky. You know, and when parents call up and they're upset about something, although it may not always be the easiest thing to deal with, I'm not concerned because I know that means they're involved and they're caring, and you know, we're going to work it out. We're going to get there together. My belief is always in the student's capacity and the parent's capacity to make things work. Sometimes the road is a little bit longer, it may be a little bit harder, but if parents also try to get the students to teach them what they're learning, one of the ways for students to reinforce what they've learned in school is for them to teach someone else.
Yeah.
So if the parent can say, hey, how do you do that? Show me how to do that. That will reinforce for the child what they have learned that day. In general, if you ask a kid, what did you learn today? They'll say nothing.
I get that from my 3-year-old.
There you go. So, maybe another thing to do is show me something that you've done today for a 3-year-old, or can you show me, what you've learned today, and and then have them teach you, because that really reinforces for them. That's one of the main components of how we learn, is to teach someone else.
And on that, I just spoke with Gene Wyatt, who does a lot of the recycling programs throughout the schools, and he was telling me that every now and then he has a parent come and wag their finger at him because their children are learning how to recycle and sort and things like that in school as part of the recycling program. And then they go home and they say, well, why aren't we separating, our paper, and why aren't we, recycling our plastics? So,
Absolutely.
So that's great that the students are bringing it home and able to teach.
Absolutely.
So what does a typical day look like for you? If a typical day exists.
Yeah, I have to say every day really is different. That's one of the more interesting parts of the job. Unfortunately, I spend way too much time doing paperwork, which is my absolute least favorite thing in the entire world, but unfortunately it's a good part of my job. My favorite days are the days that I'm able to get out and be in the schools, and to get into the classrooms. I really enjoy and love being able to do that. I miss that terribly, just getting back into the classroom. So, very often teachers will invite me in to do special activities. When you're asking about reading in AP English, the English teacher asked me if I would be willing to come in and judge a discussion, a debate that they're going to have over one of their reading books by Toni Morrison, Sula. So, I'm really looking forward to that. That'll be coming up. So that was another thing that I've been sort of tuning into Toni Morrison this summer. So.
That's great.
Yeah.
If you could, I guess, pick one life skill or one lesson or one thing that all of your graduating students left the school district with, what would that be?
I think the capacity to learn. When I went through school, information, knowing, memorizing was what mattered. Now it's not as much to me about the information. I mean, they need to know information, but it's about the capacity to learn or know how to find the information. Because there's so many resources out there now. So it's the ability to think. And I think if students can think, I don't know what jobs are going to be out there in 10 years. I mean, you're a lot younger than I am, but I'm not sure you know what jobs are going to be the jobs of the future. But if kids can think, they can do anything. If they can learn to work together, if they can be confident in their abilities, if they can be kind, and if they can learn to think, then I think we have all been incredibly successful.
Yeah, and so many folks who are younger and entering the workforce today, if they have a degree, they may be doing a job that has nothing to do with that degree.
Absolutely.
But the employer wants to see that they're teachable, that they can learn, and that they can adapt.
Right.
So that's...
And along those lines, it's interesting. One of the things that I always try to say during the graduation ceremony is that to tell the students that they can always come home again. Silver Lake will always be their home. And one of the things that I have enjoyed the most about being here is how many students we hire as teachers.
Yes,
is that people really stay home. They love Silver Lake. They come back. As a matter of fact, almost every donor that's involved with putting the athletic field lights on Syracuse Field, they're all graduates of Silver Lake.
That's incredible.
And they all came back, and they all wanted to donate because of how much it meant to them. Last night at the school committee, we recognized some of the people that had made donations for us. And I said to the students, because the entire football team was there, and they came all summer. The football team came all summer to remind us that we needed to put on the football lights. And they're big, strong young man, kind of stand there like, we want our lights. And when I said to them how proud I am to be their superintendent, because look what you've done. You forced us. Am I going to lie? You forced us to do something that was very difficult, because it obviously mattered to you. You were willing to invest your time. You helped us to figure out a way to make this work. So when you're the adults, come back to help the students as these other former graduates had.
Now, I'd be remiss if I didn't mention my wife was valedictorian from Silver Lake.
There we go. Excellent. So only the best.
But one of the great things was when we moved to town, she knew teachers. She knew music teachers. She knew English teachers.
Absolutely.
So it was one of those things where it was almost like we felt like townies on day one.
Right.
But a lot of it had to do with the fact that a lot of her friends that she graduated with were employees of yours.
Absolutely. Excellent. That's great.
Yeah, that's fantastic. And what a wonderful story, too, that the past graduates are
Absolutely.
paying
Coming
it
back
forward.
and teaching. Yeah, absolutely.
That's
Yeah.
wonderful. What
Yeah.
do you think's missing today, or what do you think is lacking in either the education system or in the classrooms?
I think teachers and educators in all levels of the education field are under a huge amount of pressure. The results are expected on tests. We're also, I think, educators are expected to be everything, to all students, and it's very difficult. The role of the teacher is no longer just about educating what's in the books. That is critically important, but it is so much more. And I think that when you have children coming in from a variety of socioeconomic backgrounds, from a variety of concerns that may be going on in their home or with something that happened to them outside of the home, it is difficult to have them all access the information the same. So I think teachers are really working very hard to provide all the students the best education possible. But what education is now is very different than what it used to be.
Yeah.
It's really involving so many more things, to make sure the students can access the information, to make sure they're safe when they're using technology, to watch out for bullying, to be concerned about their social emotional learning. It's really a very wide trajectory.
No, I was on the website, and it seems like technology is playing a bigger and bigger role every single year. How has technology in the classroom changed since you started?
When I started, we did not have, we had reasonable access at the high school and the middle school, because those were reasonably new buildings. The middle school opened in '04, the high school opened in '06, and I started in '06. But it very quickly got behind. It was sort of astounding how quickly everything is changing and upgrading.
Yeah.
And in the elementary schools, we really were struggling. We didn't have internet access, consistent internet access. We really didn't have computers. In the 13 years since I've been there, we have a one-to-one program at the high school level. Every freshman coming in is given a Chromebook, which has made a huge difference. So our last graduating seniors last year were our first year that had them all 4 years. So that's been a program that we have found very instrumental in helping our students. And then the middle school has not quite a one-to-one within the building. The kids don't take them home, but we have a good number of Chromebooks and laptops at the middle school. And now at the elementary schools, we are really building our capacity. We have a strong internet system, really good network manager. We use Power Schools, a student information system. Parents have access to the grades on the secondary level. And then we use NutriKids for school lunches, so parents can pay online and just the kids can swipe.
Yeah.
The parents can see what the kids are eating, what they're spending the money on. It's no more lunch money counting. So we really have a lot of great programs.
That's incredible. And I have a friend whose child went through the Kingston elementary schools, and they had 3D printers, which was something that I've yet to turn one on and even use one, but they're more than proficient in them.
Absolutely, yeah. At Kingston Intermediate School, we have a tech teacher, Sean Avery, who has bought in an amazing amount of grants. He uses Donors Choose, so he very often will put up items that he wants, and he's been extremely successful in getting them in the school. As a matter of fact, towards the end of last year, I was walking by and he invited me in, and he had on the 3D visualization glasses.
Yeah.
So it was great because I'm a scuba diver, and so it was really fun. So this was an underwater one, and I was standing there and I was kind of like this. He kind of had his arm on me because I'm like, the whale was coming. So it was great fun.
And those are fantastic too, because you can tour museums all over the world. If you're sitting at KIS, you can actually be walking through the Louvre. You can go to the MFA, but you don't have to leave your desk.
Yeah. So no, there's a huge amount of opportunity out there, but you can never replace the one-to-one teacher.
Yeah.
But we definitely love our technology, but I love my teachers more.
I'm gonna cheat off my notes a little bit because I was on the website and you had mentioned Power School, you had mentioned recharging lunch cards. There's also Google Classroom and Google Drive. So how are students and how are parents utilizing the website?
We have really sort of grown our capacity. Halifax and KES and KIS now have Facebook pages, so that's one way that they can access information. Many of our students and teachers are using Google Drive, so that they have an account, they can set up, they can do their homework, and they can work on it like a group project at home. so the students can all work simultaneously and see who's doing what on projects. So we have really worked with some current technology, and it's made a huge difference for us.
That's fantastic.
Yeah.
Well, I think that's about all the time we have for today.
Excellent.
Joy, I
Thank
can't
you.
thank you enough for joining
Thank
us.
you. I appreciate it.
It's been an education.
Very nice.
And I hope the folks that are watching at home have learned something about you, about the school system, about the classrooms that their children are in.
Good.
And I just want to thank you all for joining us once again on Good Day Kingston.